Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nilanjana's exclusive English lessons. My name is Nilanjana Sarkar, and I'm your English language teacher. On this channel, you will find explanations related to poems, prose, and drama. And also, you will get a lot of concepts about grammar. So, if you are looking to enhance your English and get good marks in your English exam, explore literature, then I would request you to follow this channel for accurate and fresh content. And trust me, you will not be disappointed. Okay, so today's lesson is on a poem, and this is written by W.H. Auden. The name of the poem is The Night Mail. So before I dive into the lesson, let me give you a brief introduction of the poet. W.H. Auden, he was an English-American poet. He was born on February 21st, 1907 in York, England. He is considered as one of the most influential British poets of the 20th century. His works, it often dealt with themes of love, politics, morality, and when it comes to his style, he often experimented the modern way of writing poetry as well as you will get the traditional forms of poetry. He was also known for his wit and humor and the wonderful way he captured the complexities of human emotions. This is the reason his work stands apart. Some of his famous works include Funeral Blues, The Age of Anxiety, and so on. This poem is about a mail train traveling from London to Scotland. Now, let me ask you a quick question. Are you excited to hear from your, near and dear ones, loved ones? What if you don't get to hear from your loved ones for some time? We all become anxious, right? And what do? Of course, we try to get connected with our family, our friends, through various platforms. Nowadays, we have social media where we get connected, easily. It's very easy to connect with everybody globally with the help of internet, social media, and so on. But this poem dates back to a time where there was no such platforms at that point of time. And the only way to stay connected was through the medium of letters. And that's the reason this poem emphasizes the importance of receiving letters or any other important documents from people who you wish to hear from. So, who delivers the news? Of course, it was the postal system, and still today, it's the postal system which delivers the news, and they never stop from doing their duty. This train basically operates at night. The speaker announces that we are watching the night mail, they are crossing the border from England to Scotland. And what does this mail train carry? It basically carries a lot of important things like, checks, postal orders, basically money orders. And it's also carrying letters from all kinds of people for all kinds of people. Let me give you a quick background of this particular train, the night mail. In the early 20th century, the British postal system, it operated a network of mail trains which basically transported letters, parcels, and other important documents. So, how would these trains function? They would depart at night and arrive at their destination in the morning, and thereby allowing the post office people to sort out and distribute the mail during the day. This particular train is actually a very famous train that operated between London and Scotland. And the reason the train was so famous was because it was known for its speed, reliability, and efficiency. And also, it played a vital role in connecting people and business across the country. Okay, so this is the background of the poem. Now, we are going to understand the line by line explanation of the poem. So, remember to watch the video till the end. Do not miss out or skip any part of the video because you will be, you can miss out some explanation or important references which I will be giving. And I hope all of you are carrying a pen and a notepad because please take down the important points which I will be discussing. And yes, those who have not yet subscribed to the channel, remember to subscribe. If you feel that, my videos are helping you, it's giving you some clarity, please do not hesitate to hit the subscribe button and, give it a like. Now, I have also seen that many of you are watching my videos. Yes, that's really nice, but you're not subscribing. Okay. This is the night mail crossing the border, bringing the check and the postal order. So this train is the night mail and it is crossing the border from England to Scotland. Now, what is the meaning of crossing the border? Crossing the border refers to the line that separates the two countries, England and Scotland. Bringing the check and the postal order. So, what is the mail train carrying? It brings in all important things. It brings in the check, it brings in the postal order, basically money order, because during those days, this was the way, the medium through which people used to transfer the money. Letters for the rich and letters for the poor. So the train is carrying letters for people of all social classes without any discrimination, right? So you can get letters for the rich as well as letters for the poor. The shop at the corner and the girl next door. So letters for the shop and the girl next door. Basically, everyone awaits for some news being received through the medium of letters. Pulling up Betok, a steady climb, the gradients against her, but she's on time. Now the train, the mail train, the night mail is approaching a town which is called Betok, and it's starting to go uphill now. Steady climb means that the train is moving uphill. Now the terrain in this place, if you're moving from England to Scotland, the terrain, the landscape in this area is characterized by rolling hills, fields, forests, rivers, and so on. And as you approach the border, the landscape actually becomes more rugged and mountainous. So that's the reason the poet tells that the gradients is against her. So what is the meaning of the word gradient? It means the degree at which a road goes up or down. Now, those who are, into topographical maps, contour sheets, you know what's a gradient. And yes, oh, by the way, I also have some important tips on my channel where I have a very experienced teacher sharing points about the geography paper. So whenever you get time, remember to go and watch that. All right. Yeah, I just went a little off track. Let me come back. So the gradients against her means the road was really steep, but she is on time. But that doesn't stop the train from being late or having any difficulty, because the train is quite used to this kind of a landscape. And even though it has to pass through various terrains, like somewhere it is steep, somewhere it is downhill, but still it is always on time. Past cotton grass and moorland boulder, shoveling white steam over her shoulder. The train is passing through fields of cotton grass and boulder-strewn moorland. Now, this is a imagery. This is an imagery, and you can imagine that, everything in front of your eyes, how the poet has created a beautiful visual effect. So the train is passing through all these areas. Okay. So what is cotton grass? The cotton grass, it resembles cotton. This basically grows in boggy and marshy areas, but it's not cotton, right? And the white fluffy seed head, it resembles like cotton, but it's not cotton. So the train is passing areas of this where you can see a lot of cotton grass around, and moorland boulder. What's a boulder? I'm sure all of you know. It's like a rock fragment, big chunks of rock. And the moorland is the pastures. So the moorland is strewn with boulders all over. And through that area, you can see the train moving ahead, shoveling white steam over her shoulder. So this train dates back to the era of 1930s, during that time where coal was used as fuel. That's the reason the train is producing white steam as it travels through the quiet countryside. Snorting noisily as she passes, silent miles of wind-bent grasses. So the train is making a loud snorting noise. You must have heard, right? Whenever we are near the railway station, or people who reside near the railway stations, you can get to hear this, loud snorting noise, which the engine produces. So the train is also making this kind of a snorting noise, a loud noise, and it is crossing miles and miles of area silently of wind-bent grasses. Now the grasses are wind-bent, because when the train is moving ahead, it has some kind of a movement. There's air, and due to that air and the wind, the grasses are bend. Birds turn their head as she approaches. Birds turn their head as she approaches, stare from the bushes at her blank-faced coaches. So the birds, it's night time, but the birds are awakened by her noise, because when the engine moves ahead, when the train moves ahead, it produces a loud noise. And due to that, the birds are awakened, but they are not afraid because it's a regular activity. It's every day the train moves in this place, and it travels on a daily basis at night time. They stare from the bushes at her blank-faced coaches. Now, the coaches are blank-faced. Why? Because it's not a passenger train, so you will not find any faces. You will not find any people. You will only see blank-faced coaches. So that's the reason the coaches are without the passengers. And the birds are also not afraid because it's a regular activity. Sheep, dogs cannot turn her course. Nothing can change the course of the train, whether it is sheep or whether it is, the dogs. Everybody knows, everybody is quite familiar, the animals, the creatures, the nature, everybody, they are quite familiar with the night maid, but they cannot turn her course. The course that she takes, the path that she takes is always the same path, and nothing can deter her from her path, from the sense of duty and responsibility which she carries. They slumber on with paws across. So slumber means what? Sleep. So all the animals and creatures, they are asleep because it's night time. And how do they sleep? With their paws across, with their feet across, they sleep. In the farm she passes, no one wakes, but a jug in the bedroom gently shakes. So everybody is aware about the train's movement, the train's journey on a daily basis. Every night she passes, through the grassy areas, crosses miles of land, and nobody wakes up. But there's a jug in the bedroom which gently shakes. Why? Of course, because when the train moves ahead, you will be able to sense a slight movement, a slight tremor. And that's the reason the jug in the bedroom gently shakes. Dawn freshens, the climb is done. So it's now dawn, early morning, and the climb is finally over. That means the train is about to reach its destination. Down towards Glasgow, she descends. Now, Glasgow is a city which is located in Scotland. Now, that means that the train is slowly coming near its destination. And Glasgow, during those days in the 1930s, it was a major center of shipbuilding, manufacturing, and trade. And this you can easily understand with the kind of description the poet has given. Towards the steam tugs yelping down the glade of cranes, towards the fields of apparatus, the furnaces set on the dark plain like gigantic chessmen. So these lines, it depict that, it was a very busy industrial landscape. You have the cranes, you have the apparatus, you have the furnaces. So basically, in this landscape, we can see the machine and the factories, they dominate the scene. But despite the transition into the industrial world, everything is still quiet. And all these things, the cranes, the apparatus, the furnaces, they are all arranged like gigantic chessmen, big, huge pieces of these things. They are arranged like, how it is spread across a chessboard. And everything is so well settled and well placed. And at night time, like it's now early morning, on the dark plain, everything looks like settled on a chessboard. All Scotland waits for her. So the entire Scotland waits for her. Why do they wait? Why everybody waits for her? Because the train is bringing news for them. It brings letters for them. So the letters, why everybody is waiting for her? Because the train brings news for them. The letters are very precious. Letters of love, letters of affection, letters from mom to son, letters from lovers, letters of important documents, official letters, letters of all kind. And entire Scotland waits for her because during those days, this was the only medium of communication. In the dark glens, beside the pale green sea lochs, men long for news. Glens, it means narrow valleys with streams. So when the train moves ahead, it moves through the dark glens, narrow valleys, and also beside the pale green lakes. Loch, the word loch is a British word for lake. So this is the in the dark glens beside the pale green sea locks, men long for news. So this is the course of the train, the path the train takes, sometimes beside the narrow valleys, sometimes beside the lakes. Lock is the British word for lakes, and men long for news. All men, all kinds of people, they desire, they long, they yearn for the news. Now, in the next stanza, we see all kinds of letters which the poet has mentioned. So, letters of thanks, letters from banks. So, sometimes sometimes they are the letters of gratitude, and sometimes you have letters from banks. Banks means letters carrying financial news, financial transactions, letters of joy from the girl and the boy. So sometimes you have letters which are very affectionate, letters from the girl and the boy, received bills and invitations to inspect new stock or visit relations. So all kinds of letters. Sometimes it's a bill, sometimes it's an invitation to come and inspect a new stock, and sometimes it's a letter about visiting your nearby relative. And applications for situations and timid lovers' declarations. So sometimes the letters are also related to the job applications, because when we apply for a job, we need to apply through the medium of letters. Of course, nowadays we write email, but in those days it was only letters which were very popular and effective. And timid lovers' declaration. So lovers, those who wanted to declare their love, proclaim their love, they are sometimes people are timid, shy, they cannot say it publicly. So they feel more comfortable in writing a letter for their loved ones. And gossip from all the nations. News, circumstantial, news, financial. So there's news from all countries, and news which are financial. Circumstantial news refers to the specific details of an event or news, and this kind of news reporting mainly talks about the circumstances, like the people involved, the location, time of the event, and so on. Basically, the specific details related to an event. This is the meaning of the phrase circumstantial news. So the letters, they varied, they range from all kinds of topics. Sometimes they were circumstantial, sometimes they were financial. Letters with holiday snaps to enlarge in, letters with faces scrawled in the margin. Letters from uncles, cousins, and aunts, letters to Scotland from the south of France. So from all places, for all people, all kinds of letters you can expect to see in the things which are carried in the night mail. So letters with holiday snaps, letters with faces. Some people also like to draw some faces in the margin. Sometimes letters are coming from uncles, cousins, as well as aunts, and sometimes they're also coming from the south of France. Letters of condolence to highlands and lowlands, notes from overseas to Hebrides. So the letters are also sometimes of condolence when you want to express your sorrow, and sometimes also letters which are coming from overseas to Hebrides. Hebrides is an island off the coast of Scotland. Written on paper of every hue, the pink, the violet, the white, and the blue. So all kinds of letters, all in all colors you can expect. So sometimes the papers are pink in color, sometimes they're violet, sometimes they are white, and sometimes they are also blue. Letters of condolence to highlands and lowlands, notes from overseas to Hebrides. Written on paper of every hue, the pink, the violet, the white, and the blue. The chatty, the catty, the boring, adoring, the cold and official, and the heart's outpouring. Clever, stupid, short and long, the typed and the printed, and the spelled all wrong. So here, in these lines, the poet is highlighting the wide range of emotions and human experiences in the letter. So there are letters of condolence, which are sent to highlands and lowlands. Sometimes they are the notes from overseas carrying all the way to Hebrides. Hebrides is an island off the coast of Scotland. Written on paper of every hue. So the letters are written on papers of all colors. Sometimes they are pink, sometimes they are violet, sometimes they are white, and sometimes they are blue. Some letters are chatty, means some are very talkative. There's a lot of talk in the letter. Some are catty, little spiteful. Some are very boring. And at the same time, some are very affectionate and adoring. The cold and official. Some letters are very cold and official. very to the point, matter of the fact. And at the same time, some contain the heart's outpouring. Some are heartfelt and very emotional. Clever, stupid, short, and long. So, letters, they come in varying length and format. Some are very clever, some are very stupid letters, some are very short, and at the same time, some are long. The typed and the printed. Some letters are typed and printed, some are handwritten, and some are even misspelled. Thousands are still asleep, dreaming of terrifying monsters or a friendly tea beside the band at Cransters or Crawfords. So, here in this part, the poet tells that people are still asleep. Thousands are still asleep, and some could be dreaming, some could be having nightmares of terrifying monsters. Some could even be thinking or dreaming about a friendly tea beside the band at Cranston's and Crawford's. Now, these names could be names of specific venues in the city where people go to dance and, for some kind of entertainment, listen to music. That's the reason the word band is given. So some people could be dreaming of having some tea in this place, in this specific venue where they can also listen to music and entertain themselves. On the other hand, some are dreaming of monsters and having nightmares. Asleep in working Glasgow, asleep in well-set Edinburgh, asleep in granite Aberdeen. So these are again names of specific cities in Scotland. Asleep in working Glasgow. Now Glasgow, why it's working Glasgow? Because we already got an idea of that Glasgow is it has a lot of industrial setup. The place is highly industrial, and that's the reason it is working Glasgow. And on the other hand, Edinburgh is a very picturesque, a beautiful place where basically it's known for its beauty and grandeur, and it's a very established and prosperous city. Asleep in granite Aberdeen. Now, Aberdeen is also another city, and it is referred as a granite city because the many buildings which you will find here, they are constructed from locally quarried gray granite. It's, the distinctive gray stone. So people are asleep in these cities and they continue their dreams, but they will soon wake up and shall wake soon and long for letters. So even though they are asleep now, they will finally wake up from their sleep, and when they will wake up, they will yearn to hear from their near ones, from their loved ones, and none will hear the postman's knock without a quickening of the heart. So every individual on this planet, when they hear the postman's knock, bringing some news, we all anticipate the news and we are very anxious to get the news. We are eager to get the news. So you will not find anybody who doesn't receive the postman's knock without a flutter in the heart. Quickening of the heart refers to the excitement, the interest, with the way we anticipate some kind of news. For who can bear to feel himself forgotten? No one in this planet, we can bear to feel that you are forgotten, you are not remembered. Because we don't feel good if we are forgotten, right? We love to stay connected with people. This is the main message of the poem. All right, the last few lines are very important. I repeat, this contains the major theme of the poem. What is the theme? That man is a social animal. He loves to be connected with people. He loves to get to hear from his acquaintances. It could be a official acquaintance, it could be a family acquaintance, it could be a letter from your son, from your parents, from your office, from your bank. But yes, nobody wants to be forgotten here. Everybody wants to be remembered, and everybody looks forward for these letters. And that's the reason the night mail plays a vital role in connecting people across the border. Because the letters which the night mail is carrying forth, these letters are very important. Some letters could be frivolous, but some letters are extremely important, right? So people attach their emotions with these letters, and that's the reason the night mail is doing a wonderful job, because it's reliable, it's efficient. Whether it's rain or storm, it cannot be stopped from doing its duty, and everybody looks forward to receive these letters from the night mail. So I hope the poem is clear. It's again a quite lengthy poem. And yes, if you have listened to the explanation, if you feel that it was good enough and you will be benefited from this explanation, please do not hesitate to share, like the video, and yes, please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the subscriptions. I'm quite grateful. Many of you have already subscribed and you're listening to my videos. But yes, there are still many those who are listening but not subscribing. So do study the poem, listen to the explanation once again if you feel you need some help somewhere. And yes, leave a comment if you want to know something further. Thank you so much. And yes, if you're looking for explanation of a work of Artifice, I'm sharing the link in my description box, the first poem in your book. And yeah, that's all. Thank you and have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead. Bye-bye.